And we're live. All right, let's get started.
Yes.
RuPaul Drag Race.
Hey, everybody. It's May 28th, 2017, and, of course, welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race T-Time, episode number 10 out of Season 9.
Whoop, whoop.
We are entering the final stretch pretty soon here, kids. So for those of you that are familiar with the show, I, as one of the co-hosts, am Gary, and with me are my two friendly and fierce co-hosts.
Hey everyone, it's Damon. Welcome. And it's Chester, who had to leave
Hi.
for a second.
And this week we're joined once again by extra special guest host, Brady.
Yay.
Hi, I'm the bunny you tried to remove, but you decided to keep me after all.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, that said, we're going to get into some stuff, but first, we have feedback. It came in actually earlier today, so AJ Lewis over on Facebook gave us a comment, and this is what he had to say. I have a request, although the season is almost over, could you all please stop talking around the episode and out of order? I ask because you guys do not mention names, the scene, or anything as though a spoiler will be released a week after the show aired. Yes, we all know Valentina didn't know the song and was sent home as a result. So please critique that action. Pick apart Debbie Downer Nina, or better yet, their outfits.
Wow.
So, you want to go first, David?
Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'll use the word choices. We make a choice, I think we all understand that we don't want to spoil. And while we all understand that there's a possibility that people are seeing this show and they've already seen the episode, you wouldn't be surprised that someone, but you never know. And you never know what someone's feed might show up in their feed or what have you. So to me, I'm fine with kind of skirting, talking about specific things without giving too much away, without spoiling a whole lot. We are technically doing a recap show. So yes, you would think hopefully that people who are watching or listening would have already seen the show. But for the sake of our listeners, we are trying to be nice and not spoil too much too soon. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could spill the tea all up in front and right in the beginning and just sort of let everything go and then just move on to our topics from there. I'm fine with doing that if that's something everyone else wants to do, but I'm also fine with how we're doing things. So, yeah.
I think what's not happening is we're not being consistent due to our personal schedules to put out this recap show consistently, like, say, within 24, 48 hours. And therefore, that's probably why, if, we record it and then Jeff doesn't put it out, at least as far as the audio piece, until almost the day of the next episode airing, then yes, it's quite logical that everyone has already seen, the show. But like today, we're recording, within 2 days of it airing. And if Jeff gets it up tomorrow on Memorial Holiday, then there's a possibility that some people may not have seen it yet. I think also some people may only be interested in our YouTube video or the audio because they don't really care that much to watch. So this is kind of their touch base with it. But I think it's good feedback. I don't think there's anything wrong with what AJ said. Given how far we are in this current season, I don't know if we'll kind of rearrange the layout of how we cover stuff. But, if we continue on and do the series, we might, talk about it more in a kind of a chronological order.
Well, there used to be, before I got on here, not that I'm the reason for messing up. That sounded bad starting out that way. But But before I got on here, you guys used to record it almost every Sunday night, Monday night, when it was available to you guys to do. And you always kept the format of talking a little bit about the show and then going into the next piece of the show and then revealing who went home so that there was a build-up. And we're still doing that, but to echo what Gary just said, sometimes we're recording it quick, like today, and then other times we're recording it, 6 days after the fact when people have had time to watch the show.
Yeah, it's all a matter of perspective, honestly. And I think if we take a little bit more time to if we take the time and actually just talk about the show in chronological order without giving too much away, then we're fine. But I would rather talk about the show the way we've been talking about it, and maybe if we all feel like we're spoiling something, we may say spoiler alert, just so that people know.
I mean,
I think
every show is technically a spoiler alert.
True.
I mean, duh. But also, we edited this year. We took out some sections after Chester came on, and now this is our second week with Brady. And the more people that we have on, whether it's just 2 of us as hosts or 3 of us or however many, the more people, the more talking, and the longer the show goes. So we're trying to cut out some stuff to save time, because I know, especially on video, most people don't watch videos for long times.
Yeah.
So in terms of audio, they might be willing to listen to it while they're doing their workout or they're on their way to work or actually at work, but video is a little different. And this is new for us at COL, that we're pretty much doing everything to video and audio this year. So that being said, I think, AJ, actually, is spot on. I think, in terms of tonight, now that this has been brought to our attention, we'll try to, keep to the, I guess, the spoiling for a little bit.
I would like to request that, AJ, if you're listening to this episode and you can hear me, can you give us an example of a time where you've been listening and this issue has come up for you? This way, because I'm trying to grasp at what exactly it is that you're trying to get at. Because the way that I view it is, if you've seen the episode and then you're listening to a recap show, you should know what we're talking about, or at least have a pretty good idea.
And I think he does, Chester. I think he's just saying that we're kind of dancing around things, which means we're not getting to other stuff.
Okay.
So instead of hitting it head on and instead of saying right in the first 60 seconds, like, the recap of show absolutely is a spoiler alert, and if you haven't seen the show, don't fucking listen or watch or whatever. And I think that's because Damon and I, at least when we started it, were more in the mind of, we don't want to ruin things for people. And because we, like Chester, you and I have talked about, try to watch the show up to the point of when the final 2 were picked for lip sync, and then we switch to Untucked and try to watch it in real time, basically, like how it plays out.
Yeah, because I usually watch the episode twice through.
Yeah. So anyways, no, I think that's good. I think, we have talked a little bit about, their outfits and, and talked about Nina. So yeah, I mean, are we ready to jump into our episode thoughts?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Here's the craziness of season 9. It took 10 to be entertained. It took me until the 10th episode of season 9 to actually feel like I liked an entire episode. Like,
wow. Last
episode I enjoyed but found exhausting because of the emotional roller coaster. Now I go into this one and it just, I don't know, it was almost like homecoming. It felt really good.
Yeah.
In terms of, it just, yeah, there was no mini challenge, and I know that everyone's been bitching about that this season. I say everyone just as a generality. But I really liked it. I enjoyed seeing what happened. I did hear something interesting outside of the show, in which it was, I'll have to make a link for it later, Willem and Kimchi were at Roscoe's, I think in Chicago, and they watched. It was a live stream video of them seeing the Valentina last week's episode when she got eliminated.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that.
And so it's them watching like the actual show, and it keeps cutting out for commercial and coming back to edit it. And it was great, but then you actually get to see the elimination, and Bob loses his mind. And I mean, but it was really interesting because I forgot where I was going with this. The thing about the show being entertaining is that you want to really get invested and enjoy what's happening with it.
engage with it, yeah.
And I think that it just was to show that everyone doesn't necessarily see what's happening all the time. Willa made a really good point, even though he's gotten a lot of shit for him, like kind of pulling back the curtain a lot and talking about how the show gets made. He had to keep reminding people, y'all think that like this whole thing's manipulated. This shit was recorded a year ago, last summer. So there's no like bit like they're looking at things into the future with a crystal ball, and they know that in April or May people are going to lose their mind because this queen goes home. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Wow. You know what? I hate to say it, that's kind of really, that's reality. That's true. Like, no offense, but that's true. Like everyone, no one, I don't think maybe they knew that Valentine would be enjoyed. Like, people were kind of like her, and her leaving may cause this whole thing. But reality is, yeah, they recorded all this shit like last year, and we're just now seeing it. So like, and even then they had to edit the episodes before they air. I mean, I don't think they're editing the show like a week, ahead of schedule. I mean, the only one that's really going to get that is probably the finale. But still.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they are technically putting the shows together and creating storylines and that kind of stuff. And yes, there has been accurate criticism that they're taking audio clips from other times that aren't relevant to the current challenge and inserting them. So like 2 weeks ago, I think the criticism was that when Sasha was talking about something, maybe it was when they showed her talking about being in Russia. If you paid attention, she was technically painting on her Marlena Dietrich eyebrows. But I don't watch the show with that degree of attention. I honestly don't.
Yeah. God, I don't either.
Like, everyone went nuts about RuPaul's makeup at the beginning of the season, and I was like, it's different. I didn't think it was horrible. But, some people, I guess, really pay attention to that kind of stuff. So I was like,
Brady
all right.
thought it was horrible.
Actually, I think the exact thing was terrible.
No, it's true. I'm a big fan of Matthew Anderson, so when you see Ru without Matthew Anderson's work, you notice.
I mentioned it earlier in the show that I typically watch the show twice. The reason for it is when I'm watching it the first time, I'm watching it just to be entertained. And then I'll watch the Untucked episode, and that's when I print out my notes, and then I go back and I rewatch the show, and I've got the remotes in my hand, and I'm rewinding it, and I'm like, wait, what did she just say? And comes up to the elimination, I switch back over to Untuck and make more notes, and then I come back. And yeah, the first time I watch it through, I don't pay attention to all those small details.
Cool.
So yeah, just overall the thought on this episode that it took 10 to be entertained. And it's not that the other ones were bad shows, but like I finally was like, oh, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
Like I just walked away and I felt good about it overall. And it wasn't this like, it wasn't full of angst and frustration, or I wasn't pissed at particular persons. And, it kind of played out the way I thought it would. And, and I thought that overall the story arc was put together in a way that was pretty good overall. And notably, these are my favorite moments out of any season. They kept the cameras running on the judges panel, and there's notably this whole long segment that they, thank God they put in, that they just lose their shit.
Yeah.
And can't keep her, like, she has no poker face by any means. I mean, she's trying to talk and give, one of the Makeover contestants Wintergreen some feedback, and Wintergreen keeps hamming it up, and she can't keep her composure, and the whole judges panel is just cracking up. And I thought that was one of the best moments, was how they just were really having such a good time. And even Kesha says, "You have the best job in the world."
Yeah.
To them judging, the stuff, and I thought, yeah, I bet you it is really a lot of fun to be up there. It's very serious, in that it's a job and they're doing stuff, but I think they had fun, and I think that's what I liked a lot about this show, this episode. So, Damon, what about you?
So one of the things that this is what if you don't know the show, spoiler, this was the makeup the non-drag queen, whoever episode. So in years past they've done like the little people of Los Angeles. They've done the army vets and what have you. They've done all of that. This year it was the
army vets, the Stonewall riot. There's another group in there. Anyway, sorry.
So this year it was actually the crew. They picked 6 people from the crew of the show and made them over. And the thing that really impressed me a lot about this was the fact that the cast and the crew kind of are family in a sense. There's no oh God, we're doing this. It was very much they were all cheering for each other, and they were all when the cast found out that they were doing the crew, they were all happy and applauding and looking forward to kind of doing this. And, and when each person was called, it was a very kind of funny moment for all of them. I really liked that. I thought it was a tell of the show that since they work so close together, they kind of do really know each other. I mean, maybe not everything about each other, obviously, but that there's a closeness there, there's a fondness there, and that really, that was the one thing out of this whole episode. All the makeup and everything was fine. No one really. Well, some people kind of fucked it up a bit, but for the most part, it was a good challenge and a good show. I agree with you, Gary, that it was entertaining. The makeup shows, our makeover shows, are usually telling of the talent of the queens, whether they're really good at putting together a face on someone else, or if they're not really good at putting together a face, or if they're not really good at doing a routine with someone, etc. So it's a good sort of reveal of who or what they can do. So yeah, it was a good time. Chester?
I had so much fun watching this episode. So much fun. Evan and I, when we're both home and we've got the night off, we sit and watch the show, and him and I are just fucking dying from laughter at all of the little shit that's going on. You've got Trinity over here making fun of his guy and the tucking, and you've got Sasha over here with his guy, and he's, making comments when Rue comes around to do the checkups. He's making comments to her, and the entire episode, I had a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And it was just like what Gary said, that it was, entertained. It was the first time I've watched the show from start to finish. Let me back up. From about 2 minutes in to the end of the show.
Gee, I wonder what you missed in those first 2 minutes.
It's
Why
not
did you
important.
like those too much?
It's not important. Let's move on.
Oh, it's important. It's very important. It is very telling
important
that them bitches are done with Nina. I'm sorry. It was just, oh my God. They are over it. And there are a couple of queens that are particularly over it.
I don't blame them one bit. We had a huge huge discussion about this last week of that very subject.
Uh-huh.
Today on our regular episode, we touched on it some more. So no, I don't blame them. There's only so much you can do when somebody wants help and guidance and you're there to give it to them and they don't accept it.
Uh-huh.
So moving on. Brady,
right.
how about you?
Mother
muted. There you go.
Tuckers.
Uh-oh.
No, this was a great episode. After we got through, Nina's little thing in the beginning, I was really entertained. I really, really enjoyed it. I think this is probably the most comfortable I've seen Queens be doing a makeover challenge, because it wasn't strangers, it was the crew, and they've seen these people since they started taping. So there's a lot of time. I'm sure they interact with the crew as well. We don't get to see that because it's edited out. But, it was really awesome seeing it and, see some of these individuals step up and, not one of them said, I don't want to do this. I think it probably was pre-planned who they were going to pick. But it was just a really great episode. I enjoyed everything that happened. I think I was watching it with Pup Alice. I think one of the comments that we made is we were really worried about Sasha because we were looking at, I can't remember the guy's name that she was doing the makeover on, but we're like, Duncan, that jaw, we're like, ooh, she's going to have to contour the shit out of that.
It was a very fun episode, and it was very telling. Like, they mentioned a lot of it in Untucked about how hard it was for them to do the makeup for the guys, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it was the cast. I think that was the best. You hit the nail on the head. This was not strangers to them. These were all like, oh, we know these guys. We know them. We probably laugh at them. They probably laugh at us. Duncan, who was kind of the head, I forget what his title was, but he seems to be he said when Rue's not here, he's in charge. And I was like, oh, well, there we go.
Yep.
He's the coordinator of the show.
Yeah. So it was one of these okay, well, clearly he knows his shit,
See, this is why. Sorry, Damon.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is why when I think it was Trinity a few episodes back on Untucked when she said, "Where's the help with my robe?" I didn't take that as offensive when she said that because I know in the back of my head that whomever she is talking to or about in that moment, they're probably on a friendship level where it was okay for her to have said that to her. Because we only get to see them one episode or a day or two, and it's made us to believe that this happens over the course of 2 weeks. It doesn't. It happens over the course of several months of recording. They are in and out of each other's lives every single day. And when they come in and say, you have 1 day for this challenge, they mean a whole 24 hours. That's going to happen over 4 days.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm pretty certain that's why there was such good chemistry between all of the queens and all of the crew on this particular episode.
Yep. It was overall a really good episode.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hang on a second, because I'm all discombobulated.
Oh.
I'm not validating this music.
It's the part of the show that Brady detests the most.
I really do. I'm sorry. I missed the old Untucked. I hate the YouTube version.
Oh.
It's funny because
Okay.
season 3 queen, she posted on Twitter, she's like, bring back the interior illusions loud, Henny.
Nice. All right, so Untucked, the YouTube series, which is kind of behind the scenes, mostly about like when the queens leave the main stage and kind of talk amongst themselves back what they think. Damon, why don't you start us off with your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it all out there. We all know who left. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Nina got kicked off, and it showed. We heard that.
Sorry, Jim.
Anyway, excuse me. Yeah. So, and as I put in the notes on the show, Peppermint and Trinity have had it. Like, and I've had it too. Like, I was done when, because to me, okay, let me just rephrase. Peppermint very much in the start of the episode was like, I'm through. I'm done. Like I've done. Like why are we keep doing this? Why do we keep talking to her and trying to build her up when we've done this so many times? And why do we have to spend every 30 minutes of every group session to kind of do this? And she's so over it. Like I wrote down like Nina kind of said, I don't think I want to do something or lip sync, or I think I may just step there, and Peppermint literally went okay. Because she was like, I'm done. Like I get it. Like I'm done. I was done with her this episode when she tried to, she was trying to do like, I'm going to try to sew something and show that I can do something, something else is something new. And then she goes, okay, well, never mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm kind of giving up on it. And then she comes out on the runway with these bunny. Like I like the idea of them doing bunnies, but like the judges said, here up is totally disconnected from here down. There is no disconnect. Like, and don't call them BDSM bunnies or whatever the fuck you call them. They were black leotards and thigh-high boots, and that was it. If you had, hate to say it, you could, if you had gone with like a dark, like the dark bunny, you could have maybe gone that route. I would have preferred that to what you did.
She a black bunny baby.
Yeah, like just something, just done something else. Or I'm sure you had plenty of stuff you could have used in there if you had just changed this up, like done something else, do something else. If you don't want to build an outfit, then do something. You had plenty. I saw plenty of stuff that could have potentially worked together that could have matched you. Hell, no offense, Peppermint, her and Wintergreen's look nothing alike except for the sleeves. They were awful. Well, I actually really like Peppermint's, but but they just didn't work together. They did not go together at all. But at least they looked in some way, shape, or form like they were meant to kind of be together. And no. Like I'm with Peppermint and with Trinity. I was over it during the episode when she sat on the couch in Untucked and was quiet for most of the time. And then the only time she spoke up was pretty much to say, I'm going home. Well, you did.
Well, bye, bitch.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I don't know if any of us are going to talk about it. I'm going to skim the doc really quick. Oh, no, I am going to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it now because I'm going to do it later.
Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Chester.
I wanted to talk about the couch, but I'll wait. So I just wanted to say that my thoughts for Untucked is that energy of everybody having so much fun together got carried over into the Untucked episode. Usually when they go back after the first judge's reading, and they go back and they're sitting on the couch, it's usually this, everybody gets back there and they just have this big sigh of relief that part of the show is over and that a weight has been lifted off their shoulders, and they kind of just relax a little bit. They didn't really do that. They got back into the back room and they just kept up that energy of all having a good time and laughing and, you know, complimenting each other on what they did and what didn't work. And nobody took any kind of offense to it or anything. Nobody got upset. Nobody was bitching. The only thing that was off was Nina lying on the couch, just fucking completely disconnected from everybody else. That was the only problem I had with anything that was going on in the back room.
Yeah.
And then the crew gets in there and they join in on it, and they're getting into it, and they're all ribbing each other and making jokes, and they're talking about I don't know any of their names except for Brady, but I don't know who Brady got.
Brady was paired up with Alexis.
Whoever was with Trinity, because tucking for him. Yeah,
oh, Duncan. That was Rizzo. That was Rizzo.
Rizzo. Okay, so Rizzo was having major problems with tucking, and they were making comments about him tucking. And I remember one of them mentioning something about, "Is it hanging out right now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are they gonna show it?"
Oh. Yeah,
I obviously they're not going to show his penis, but I kind of wanted to see if they'd, like, you know, show a bulge or something.
Yeah, it was very interesting, the whole concept. I mean, we've seen it all before. You know, these are guys that don't normally do this, and you saw a lot of that. Like, tucking has always been the issue. Like, they always have at least one queen that has the other guy really get into tucking, and they have to, like, show them or whatever, and they always kind of, and it's just, it's, you know, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's television, you know, no one likes that whole idea of, normally guys don't think of, like, you have to do that, you have to tuck it and all that stuff, and it just, it doesn't really click until you do it.
Yeah. Brady, how about you? What were your thoughts on Untucked?
Not surprised by Nina's attitude. I think we all sort of guessed that was going to happen. There was a part I was slightly concerned with. Someone made and I don't think they were trying to be intentional with this or they made a joke about roofing somebody, which I did not find funny at all.
Yeah, I think
it was Shay that did it. It was. I'm pretty positive it was Shay, and I was like, really? I felt like we didn't need to go that route, but that's the one. It really bothered me. But then they fucking brought out that goddamn tray of hamburgers.
What's wrong with the tray of hamburgers?
I couldn't help but laugh. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I don't know why. It was just, and they are like, "Oh my god, food!" Because the thing is not a lot of people know this, but it's on the application. They don't provide food. You have to have your own money to feed yourself while you're there.
Interesting.
It says that on the application because I was reading over it. Now they might have changed it because the last time I read it was during season 6.
Yeah, they've definitely changed it because last season, All Stars, and I think even season 8, if you watch like bonus clips online, they were showing them eating. And Kimchi kept like joking all season long about how she wanted fucking Chipotle.
Yeah. But up until season 6, they had to pay for their own food. They were required to have a budget with them to afford all that stuff extra because they didn't provide it. But I don't know why I thought it was so funny. I was just like, oh, more advertisement for Hamburger Mary's. But then I sat there, I'm like, is it really Hamburger Mary's or is it something else? Maybe they got it from somewhere else and they're just saying it's Hamburger Mary's, but I'm assuming that it is.
Well, they never actually said where it was from. They just said hamburgers.
Well, they said thank you, Mary.
Yeah, they said thank you to Hamburger Mary's, and I think they did when they brought the card in say what it was. And notably, there were 3 particular foods that were featured: a vegetarian burger, a regular hamburger and/or cheeseburger, and mac and cheese bites. And it cracked me up because Shay immediately was like, "Are those mac and cheese bites?" Like she clocked them from across the room, and that says to me that she's had them before. She knows what they are, and because she's from Chicago, and they're shooting in LA, I have a feeling this isn't the first time they got fed some of that food.
Yeah.
Like, I think they do get a stipend of some sort. Like, they get some meals, like maybe a lunch every day is minimally included, and they have to order it ahead of time, and then it comes in at a specific point.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why Shay knew what it was, but yeah.
It's cool. I liked. I thought it was very cute that that's when they brought the other people, the crew members that were made up in when they were bringing in the food, because it was like that's probably what they would normally do. Like, here you go, here's your food, come in and get it. Like, no. Yeah.
Agreed.
Gary, how about you?
Mine's going to be really brief. When it came to Untucked, I was like, "Where's Nina?" Oh.
I didn't see her for like a good 3 or 4 minutes.
Go for it.
I honestly thought she left. Like, I thought something happened and I missed it, that she just got up and left and walked out of there, or was over in front of the mirrors, or I didn't understand what happened, because as we're all kind of, I think, randomly discussing in this episode, she just kind of melted away into the background.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until there was a certain camera shot at one point, and then I was like, oh my God, she's laying on the fucking couch, like, just taking it all in and listening. And
yeah,
I was like, really? Okay. I mean, she's been kind of quiet, but this was like the most withdrawn I had seen. And it was weird, because to me, it was like the other 5 queens were all like, all right, girl, whatever. Like, if you're just going to lay there, we're going to put on a show and we actually understand.
Literally.
This is a thing and there are cameras and we're going to fucking talk.
That's literally what they were doing. Like, they didn't give a shit that Lena wasn't talking to them. They were like, here we go. We're just going to keep having our conversation. Because this is what if I'm remembering the Untucked in my head correctly, they all came in. I think Trinity grabbed the robe, because clearly she's not wearing much. And then I then saw Nina come in. I think Nina came in last. And when Nina came in, she stayed back near the door. I saw her get her robe. And then while the other girls kind of scoot around, she comes in and lays on the couch. And she's sort of there. And that's where she stays. But she was
so just for me, in terms of the Untucked, that was the Untucked was a good one overall, but that was the one thing that stood out to me. While I appreciated that the crew who got made over came in and they ate, and there was this conversation about how good the veggie burgers were and blah, blah, blah. I was just like, okay, it's quite obvious now Sasha's a vegetarian. Like, we figured that out earlier in the season, and it got reiterated in this show, or this episode. But that was the takeaway. I was like, where's Nina? Because I seriously, like, I thought she left or something happened and I missed it. And then come to find out, no, she's just chilling out, like, and not really engaged or whatever. So, and then just the, oh, never mind, is because, it wasn't that important.
It really wasn't.
I don't know how else to say it. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right, our takeaways.
Sure.
Chester, why don't you start us off with what you took away from the show, this episode?
On my notes, I wrote down true sisterhood, and it kind of ties into what my other 2 things that I've said so far is everybody was having such a great time, and they were just all getting along with each other. Once that incident happened at the very beginning of the episode where Nina was doing her bullshit, and got shut down by, was it Sasha or Shay? Peppermint is the one who said, let's change the subject.
Possibly. Yeah, it was Peppermint.
Yeah, I was surprised, not to cut in on you, Chester, but I was surprised how vocal Peppermint was, because at first I thought they were fucking with her mic. Like, in the edit, I thought they boosted her audio.
Oh.
Because she seemed loud, and then I realized, oh no, she's not muttering under her breath.
Yeah.
Like her what she started to say made me feel like something you would just kind of mumble to yourself. And I was like, oh no, she is outright just giving no fucks.
Yeah.
She was just like basically saying, are we seriously going to do this? Like, have this conversation. And it actually says something about, are we going to spend 30 minutes? And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
She's being very temporally controlled because most people probably would have said the exact same thing but been angry.
Yeah.
I would be one of those people. So
I think
it was
my anger has been pretty palpable about Nina for a while.
it was just after that moment, everybody else just kind of, yeah, they were all doing their thing and they were all doing it separately, but at the same time, they were all doing it together. Like the interaction between Trinity and Shay during the, in the workroom, and they're both throwing shade at one another, and their guys are throwing it back to one another, and everybody's just having this great time. And then it comes on to the Untucked episode, and everybody is still having a really great time. And even when all of the crew members are talking about their experience on the show, they're all like, I came on here, I just expected it, guys dressing up as girls, and that was it. And then they're like, no, there is so much more to this. I'm so glad that I've done this. I'm doing it for my kid, or I'm doing it to better understand people for the greater good of humanity. There was one of the gentlemen had said something like, maybe I should take some tips from my 2-year-old son because he's always walking around in my wife's shoes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny. So it was just, to me, I know we've mentioned before throughout this season that they all seem very connected to one another, but this particular episode, it just made it solidify that thought for me that they are all sisters in their own right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brady, how about you?
Let's talk about Brady.
Not you.
Before,
no,
after he shaved.
We'll talk both, actually. So if you guys didn't notice, I sort of did my hair up in tribute to him today.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So everyone was like, oh my God, look at this cute chubby guy, Brady. And of course, me being me, there's not many people with the first name of Brady around. It's usually more common as a last name. I know one other person who has this name of Brady, so I was really excited to see someone on TV that has the first name Brady. I thought that was really awesome. But he was extremely adorable. Now, when he shaved his beard, I still thought he was adorable, but when Alexis put him in a drag, oh my God, he turned into Mimi on First. I felt really, really, really bad for him. And yes, that was a read.
But so sorry, put that aside. Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Mimi. No offense to Alexis, and I don't think that's where she was going, but yeah, there was a lot of and maybe it's because they're, slightly chubby, whatever. But anyway,
yeah.
Brady, I think I really liked his sort of story, quote unquote. You find out he's straight. They do say that in the episode, which is kind of cool. And also, he kind of says he was the one that said, I just thought that drag queens were guys who dress like girls, and he knew he was very wanting to figure that out, that it was more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, really helped make things, I think, for him better. Like, he wanted to understand it, and I really liked it. I'm glad he showed up and really I'm oh God. Okay, all right. So I was not a fan of their looks at all. I got what they were going, but I really wish they had gone all the way with it. Like Michelle said, like, they were wearing the space suits and the go-go boots or whatever. It was very meant to kind of be kind of 1960s, spacey, one of thing. But I really wish they had done something else with it, like something more, something bigger. I know I don't know how much time they had, but still, it just should have gone better. And I felt that way about Shay as well. Like, this is the talent. We're in the top 6. This is the time to throw it all out there. And if you don't do it, if you don't go for it, then yeah, you're not going to win. You're not going to do so well.
Yeah, true. So, segueing into Alexis from Brady, again, I felt like over Shay, she should have been in the bottom 2 this time. Listening to her complain in the back during Untucked about, oh, well, I sewn all this. I should have gotten some. It was so annoying. Like, great, yeah, you sewed something, but overall, the look and the execution that you went for was not successful. I felt like what Shay, even though there was issues with it, like minute, small problems, it overall was executed better, and I thought it looked better. So it was just, once again, another episode where I felt like Alexis didn't deserve to be where she's at now. So I'm hypothesizing she's probably going to go home in the next episode.
Just out of curiosity, and I saw this somewhere else, so I want your guys' opinions just to make sure. But wasn't what Brady wearing in the challenge Alexis's intro look?
Ooh, now I'm gonna have to look that up.
We're gonna have to rewind and watch.
I posted a link in the group chat.
Oh, okay. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Maybe the wig, perhaps, because that's the color.
Damn close.
But the look is not.
Okay.
I can see how you would get it confused, but no, it's not. It's not identical. But yeah, it's part of her brand.
Okay.
To be honest, she likes things, glitzy, sparkly, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah. It wasn't. It's not exactly that. It was the leotard and the cat suit that Brady and Brady and Alexis were wearing were a shimmery, like silvery fabric that had like a hologram kind of look to them, and they had done like jewels up the not collar, yeah, or collar, or the cutout for their their heads or whatever, the neck hole, and then obviously Brady wore the cat suit and Alexis wore the leotard, and was cut really like oddly. Her shape was a little off to me, but that was just me. But anyway, and then they had the big hair with the headbands, and the color of the hair matched the color of the eyebrows, but then their eyebrows were glitter, and her lips matched their hair and everything. So it was a very composed look, but it could have gone. I just feel it could have gone better. I like the look of the hair and makeup. I just think they should have done something else with the outfit. So, Gary, how about you?
My takeaway is this particular episode, I think, was kind of the top of the pyramid on this thing that's been happening all season long. I think that the mental health for all to see is really what season 9 is about. And we've talked in previous episodes. I think you and I, Damon, have had discussions about that. You've got to have a headspace. Like, you need to be thinking about the competition and trying to win and be in it. You know what I mean? Like, and not check out, because the moment you start to check out, it's the beginning of the end, or you're about to exit. I'm going to propose something that I think people won't be surprised by, but it hasn't been directly discussed. I think Nina actually suffers from massive depression, if not like maybe some manic stuff, because she just cannot not say or see the negative. that's one of the things that I think everyone found so frustrating about her has been she's always been, whenever someone pays a compliment, she doesn't take it. And at the beginning of the episode, we get to see right after elimination, Valentina goes home, and we go through this whole thing about how Nina feels like, I'm the negative one, I'm the Debbie Downer, and I should, you guys are left with me, when everybody really liked Valentina. And they're all like, we're not listening to this. No matter what, I just felt like I don't think anybody was able to see it because they were busy living it. But watching it from outside, I'm kind of like, I don't think people are understanding. You are looking at a true, real case of somebody who has this, mental situation. And it doesn't matter what you do. You're never going to be able to change it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that it's unfortunate that no one's able to help directly address and show what was going on for her in that case. Because even afterwards, in the What You Packet, Michelle's talking to her, and she still wasn't willing to agree and concede any positive, to the positive stuff. She kept counterbalancing it with the negative. And I think that speaks to some big things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's the first time in 9 seasons it's truly been in our face. You know what I mean? It's really been on display, and there's no avoiding it. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. I just think it made people uncomfortable. And most of that discomfort came in the form of frustration and anger, not so much maybe the contestants, but just us watching it and feeling like, oh my God, get your shit together. Well, some people just can't get their shit together, period.
And maybe that's the case. Perhaps that's the case. And if it is, I hope she is getting or has gotten the help that she needs. Because I think that's part of it for me. Was my main issue was that they kept trying to build her up. They kept trying to give her the positive. They kept trying to show that there's a reason why she's here. There's a reason why Ru picked her. There's more to it than you're this black girl from Atlanta. There's more to it than that. And she never seems to have grasped that. We love you, we support you, we're here for you. We know you do some sickening shit, but why can't you see that? And I think that that was part of the frustration, I think, for everyone, was that every time someone said something to her or tried to tell her to do, this is what we want, or we want from you, it always either went in one ear and out the other, or never got heard at all.
Well, I think the thing is that she just doesn't take compliments. And doesn't know what to do with them or how to incorporate them. And for the second time this season, I felt we got a really good speech to Nina, and Trinity delivered it this time in the Untucked, when she said something that I thought was huge and just might get through to Nina. And in the end of this episode, I don't think it got through to Nina, but maybe it cracked open a door or a window. And Trinity basically says, don't you dare, I'm paraphrasing completely, don't you dare give up. You are a role model. You are on this show. People watch this show. Kids look up to this show. People are amazed by the talent that you have, and you are fucking fantastic. Do not doubt that you have the power to influence other people's lives, and that what you do matters. And I was sitting there wow, Trinity really is delivering a complete package. Not only is she talented and skilled, she's showing us she's got the mental capacity to understand how pivotally important a commercial thing is actually world changing. In terms of, being the supermodel of the world, you will not only, obviously get booked gigs and be able to collect some coin and, get a $100,000 check, which Bianca Del Rio says you get 66 cents when they're done with taxes. But the reality is, you are going to be showing little boys and girls all over the world it's okay to pursue your dreams and that you can actually achieve success. And that it's going to take some hard work in that. So I found that to be very like I was waiting for them in the edit to start playing the patriotic music and blah, blah, blah. I mean it was this big kind of like rabble rousing kind of speech moment, and I thought Trinity was going to be able to get through to Nina a little bit, and that's why I say I think mental health for all to see is what was on display, because it's like I think she started to get through, and then Nina just cognitive behavior, like habitually out of pattern, puts up the wall.
Yeah.
Like you start to break through, you start to crack it, and then immediately she's there with the mortar and and she's just like, and she's like trying to repair the cracks because she just can't handle the positivity or whatever it is. I don't know. But that was kind of my takeaway. I was like, wow, like maybe that's the one thing that we really got out of this was that, everybody's got shit that they're dealing with, and for the most part, we don't know it. But in this case, there was kind of no avoiding it, maybe.
So, I'll go and head into mine. Walking a mile is pretty much what I wrote, and it's kind of general takeaway from everything. Everyone kind of had a chance to the crews got a chance to walk a mile in the Queen's shoes, knowing what reasons why they were doing it was very helpful and beneficial. I like that. So we Shay and Sasha were the ones who picked the queens who they were matched with the crew. And I think they really did a good job of matching appropriate people with appropriate people. And there was no throwing someone under the bus. There was no any underhanded business. It was literally like, I think they would have worked well together. They would work well together. They would work well together. So that's why they picked them. It wasn't a shit show. And I think it really helped because as we saw, Nina got paired with, what was his name?
Aaron.
Aaron, yeah.
From the art department.
And he things to her that I think helped. Like he was when they were getting ready, he was talking to her about these are you're kind of defeating things, but maybe you shouldn't be. He was very, very positive and uplifting to her as well. I agree with you that Trinity kind of gave a really good speech during the Untucked to her that I think everyone needed to hear, especially Nina. It was good to keep it simple in regards to let's have these people be paired with these people, but it also I think worked beneficial for everyone else because the people that I think mostly got paired with the exception of maybe Brady and Alexis. Sorry. I think everyone kind of had a really good chance to kind of really get to know what each other was feeling and why they do what they do and really walk that mile.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on?
Sure.
Excellent. One moment, please, because I'm trying to get to this.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win.
I did.
All right, so it's time for snaps and eye rolls, our hits and misses, what we thought was good and bad, the highs and lows. And for me, to start off with, I'm going to give snaps to two things. I'm going to give snaps to wintergreen. Tastes great. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of wintergreen. I don't care for that in gum or lifesavers or any of that crap. But, wintergreen was Sarge, who notably we find out, used to be a sergeant in the Army, and that's how he gets his nickname. I have a theory. Sarge is the only crew member that we didn't hear was married and or had kids. And because of his antics, and he's been with the show for a long time, 7 cumulative seasons, 5 regular and 2 all-stars, I kind of think Sarge is family.
I think so too.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I loved him so much, and I'll get to that. But I have a feeling he knows he either is family or he is, since he's been on the show for so long, he's just kind of absorb some characteristics and some quirks and whatnot from the queens of seasons past.
He emulated a drag queen really well. I mean, he was painted and stuff, but he really knew how to like campy and that kind of stuff. And so I was like, yes to wintergreen, even though I don't like the taste of the real wintergreen. This one I have no problem swallowing. Yeah. So that being said, yes, Chester.
I was gonna say I would taste some wintergreen.
He was a nice looking man.
I prefer the untucked version.
Okay. Anyways, so and then I also have a second set of snaps, and I want to give these to Donatella Velour because she casts some serious shade at Trinity Taylor in Untucked. And the first time I watched it, I didn't catch it. Like, I didn't understand why it was so damn funny. So I watched it again, and the second time I finally got what the joke was. And it was so brilliantly evil. So they're talking about the financial investment of doing drag. And, Alexis and them are basically saying, like, we do it at a loss. We do it because we love to do it and it's entertaining, but we spend all this money on the look of what we're trying to pull off that, we go poor. And Trinity speaks up and says, when I was 20, 21, I seriously had to consider, do I pay my rent or do I buy a gown? Duncan, a.k.a. Donatella Velour, says, one cheek.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. I was
lost it when he said that.
One cheek. And then I was like, holy shit, she just called Trinity out for her fucking filler, like for her plastic surgery. She basically was saying, like, you could have here for 1 month or you could actually have an injection done.
Yep. Right on there. There we go.
I loved that.
Yeah, I had to give Duncan, like I said, Donatella Velour some major snaps. That was like the most epic shade in a long time. And what I loved was that everybody howled. Like they all thought it was, one of the best laid points. My eye rolls, unavoidable behaviors. And this is going to go back to something that we've sort of talked about, and some of, I think, maybe all of you in a way have kind of referenced to. And it occurred to me this time. I've reached the end where, like, Trinity makes a comment in the very beginning in confessional about how she's done dealing with Nina.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with dealing with Nina only because I started categorizing and saying she just can't help it. And then I caught myself being annoyed with Alexis.
Yeah.
And then I realized she can't help it. Literally, in a warped way, becoming the personification of a stage mom, but of herself. Like, she loves musical and Broadway and all that shit, but I was like, Gypsy, get the fuck out of the way. Like, Rose, what the hell's going on with you? I was like, oh my God, she cannot fucking shut her hole. Ever. She has to have this conversation. She has to talk about, she needs validated. So she talks about it in conversation about how she sewed those outfits from scratch. She had to make 2 of them. She had to do this and that. And I was like, girl, like, there's something really going on with you that you have to do this, because the rest of the queens are like, yeah, we know, like, we were there, like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm thinking, no, it is a big deal, because Alexis has to bring it up. She needs this. She needs her bucket of validity filled. And so there's something going on, and that's when it clicked, and I was like, I think they're unavoidable behaviors. I think she just doesn't know that she does it, or doesn't know how to not do it.
Yeah.
Able to make her tell or know it until she sees it on camera, and then you'll start to understand kind of who you are in a way. I think Sharon Needles got a dose of that. I think Fifi O'Hara got a dose of that. Eureka might have got a dose of that. Mimi I'm First might have got a dose of that. All of these queens who have been kind of like, painted supposedly as like bitchy, whatever. I think when you see yourself on camera, you really get a feel for your true personality, because this is just how you are. Now, I've heard consistently over and over again on various like interviews and podcasts and all sorts of stuff, every queen that has ever met Alexis and worked with her or been around her says that she is incredibly nice, and what you see on stage is not what they've had as an experience. Makes it sound like it's a performance, but I'm like, I don't know, because remember, sometimes people say that it's a pressure cooker environment. Being on the show and sequestered and not being able to, like, you know, interact with other people, and the only time you have socialization is when you're actually competing. You know, Willem revealed recently that apparently now, like, when their cameras aren't on, they just yell ice, meaning all the queens are on ice and everybody needs to shut up and not do anything. Like, when you control the environment that dynamically, like rats in a maze, it's no wonder you start to go a little crazy and your behavior gets a little odd. And we're watching it thinking you're normally like this, and that's where it's not fair, because the viewing audience doesn't understand. No. You're not always like this. This is just a quirk of who you are. I'm not making an excuse for Nina. I seriously think she's always like this. But Alexis, in this case, I'm going to try to give her some latitude because nobody has confirmed she's like that. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's the glue you're huffing. I don't know what the hell's the matter, girl, but you just can't shut up. So
yeah,
that's my thought. That's my eye roll. Unavoidable behaviors. I think some people just can't help themselves.
yeah.
Damon?
All right. So my snaps are pretty simple. It is the Kesha and Wintergreen sort of banter during the episode when the judges lost their shit. It was so amazing, so awesome. Just, it was epic. Like basically, they've gone to Peppermint and Wintergreen, and they're talking about it. And Kesha's is trying to give her critiques, and we've mentioned this before, and she cannot get what she's saying because Wintergreen is mean mugging the fuck out of her. Like, what? What's that? What am I doing? Like, she's literally hamming it up, and it is so awesome and so just, yeah, it was epic. It was perfect. It was good. Like, laugh. I was dying here on the couch watching this just because it was so funny. It was so perfect. It worked so well, and to the point where, like I said, they couldn't really keep things going. None of the judges could really keep their composure at that point. So, snaps to that. It was awesome. Loved it. Yeah. So my eye rolls kind of are. I hate to say it, they're just to Nina. And even though we've discussed this about maybe it's a mental health thing, but for me, reality is her giving up but not giving up is just sort of, it was just sort of the icing on the Debbie Downer Nina cake. Like, she was talking in the episode about in Untucked, she mentions, she gets on the couch and she's laying there, she's quiet, not doing anything, and then she pipes up and she pretty much says oh, well, I think I'm just gonna, I've been in the bottom 3 times, I feel like my time is up, blah blah blah, and oh, no, she was, and I think I'm just gonna give up, I'm not even gonna do it, and they're all like, no, you should do it, and well, you know what, you do whatever the fuck you want, we know what's gonna happen, no offense, you're going home. To me, I get why you were in that space, because you kind of knew. There was only so much you could have done to turn that third lip sync out to get you to the next episode. I don't know what she could have done, especially against Shay, to turn it up enough to get her in the bottom. But I mean, the one thing she should have taken in reality was that just the episode before, Valentina, who had never been in the bottom, was suddenly in the bottom. If you had taken that victory as a positive, you could have taken that into this next lip sync and maybe won it out. Maybe. I don't think so, but if you had not given up, at least in the beginning, you might have been able to have gotten something out of it. Maybe giving the judges something to really look at, but instead you kind of gave up. That was not her greatest lip sync. Yes, she didn't stay in one space, thank God, but for the most part, she could have just sat there or stood there. She could have done Charlie Hides or kind of thing, but instead she did move around a bit. But it's not. I've seen her do a lot more, and there's a lot that she could have done with the song that they were given. So.
I agree with you, Damon. I thought it was interesting. Some people commented that they were on the edge of their seat thinking that she was going to suddenly just 180 the shit out of it. Like she was playing up the drama of not doing anything much. And that at a certain point in the song, she was just suddenly going to go nuts and really bring it and kind of basically give it to Shay and really make the judges think about who did better.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting that some people felt that way. I did for a moment or two, and then I was like, nope. She's too in her head. She's not going to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
Like if she didn't start strong and I give her 5 to 10 seconds, nope, forget it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
So yeah. So there's my snaps and eye rolls. Chester?
My snaps are going to go to Wintergreen. All of those same reasons. Most of it was because of the playful banter that he had throughout the entire episode, particularly on the runway when Kesha starts losing it and he just sits there and like bats his eyes, flips his hair, does all of these little things, and I'm just glued and just rolling inside because it is so funny. And then somebody makes the comment about, so we're going to see you on season 10, and he's like, no, All Stars 3. He looks at himself as being good enough to be on there in that capacity. I just thought he did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was really enjoying it and that it was something that he needed to do.
Yeah.
Like, it was an experience that will be with him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think it became super obvious that the crew who had longevity was more serious about doing good by their partner. And by that, I mean they knew that they had to deliver.
Yeah.
Right.
The guys that were younger, that it was like their first season, basically, they were more emotionally invested in trying to do good by their partner, but they weren't delivering. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They were not as focused on the choreography and the look and the mannerism. I thought that was really interesting because Sarge, definitively, Duncan, Aaron, they've been there for years, and they seem to really wanted to try to do as good as they could because they knew that actually equates to the success of their partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I think that Sarge knew you got to bring it, and you have to go beyond what you think is right.
Yeah. Your eye rolls?
My eye rolls are for Nina just laying on the couch.
Oh, God. I have no idea how much that hurt.
So when the girls all came back to the room after the initial judging, and they all grabbed their drinks, and they're all sitting down on the couch, and like I said earlier, it wasn't until about 2 or 3 minutes of them in there chit-chatting that I realized, oh, Nina's laying on the couch. She's with everybody else, but they've kind of inadvertently or maybe unknowingly formed this wall blocking her off from the rest of the group. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't intentional.
No, I don't think they, I literally think she chose to separate herself from the group.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that it was all her sitting in that spot and disconnecting herself, but still wanting to be part of it.
Probably
Because if
thought
she
she had
really,
to.
if she totally wanted to be, that's true. It could have been, part of their direction as everybody needs to be in this area. But it was so weird to see everybody else having such a good time. And nobody's talking about, well, you did this and you did that and this made me feel. Nobody was bitching. They were having an adult discussion about this wasn't very good for you, but you did this really well. Everybody had fun with it. And they were having an adult conversation. And then all of a sudden, there was this one view of the camera where it was kind of looking in between the two people that were sitting in front of her. And I was like, oh, Nina's just sitting there or laying there. Why is she just laying there? Oh, she's checked the fuck out. She's done.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Brady.
So we've been talking about the negative things that Nina has done. I want to talk about one of the positive things that I thought was really good from this episode. She attempted to sew, which I really appreciated that she wanted to be like, I can't do this, but I'm going to try and do it because I really have this vision that I want to execute. Sadly, she burned all of her bridges and was not able to get the help that she needed from the other queens to get what she needed done. So I felt bad for her from that standpoint. But I think if she had actually been able to make what she wanted to make, it probably would have turned out very well. And it could have been a different position than where she was at this time around. So I want to give her the props for that.
Go ahead. No, I agree with you that she burned her bridges, quote unquote. I think part of it had a lot to do with the fact that everyone has tried to help her in these past 6, 7, 8 episodes or whatever, and they've not gotten anything back. And I know that sounds crazy, but Shay mentioned it in the, I think, Untucked last week.
Yeah.
About how, like, I've given and given and given, and I know that's not usually the idea behind giving, but usually if you're giving and giving and giving and no one, and she's not doing or saying anything or responding to it, then you're not going to give anymore. That's just the way humans are. Like you either give and give and give until you're empty, or you give and give and give and you're done. Like, I'm not giving you anymore. I can't give you anymore. We're moving on. And I feel that that's part of what's happened here. She did get help from Shay a little bit. And then after that, let's, because this is what I remember. She chose to not ask anybody else because everyone else was busy doing their own thing, which is true. We're in the middle of a competition. They could have, maybe if they had seen her struggling, they may have been able to help her. I doubt they would have, but maybe. But if she had maybe asked for help from someone else again, they maybe they would have helped her. I don't know. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that they would not have. But I don't think that it was I think her part of, again, like her being in her head was her kind of giving up. She didn't ask the second time. She didn't ask anyone the second time. I do give her props. I agree for her for trying to come up with something. I just think it may have been a little too late at this point of the competition. Trinity pointed it out that we're top 6. This isn't the time to learn to sew.
Yep.
I get that she should have tried, and I'm glad that she tried or attempted. And I think she may have made a little headway. I think maybe that's the problem overall with sewing is there are certain things you have to know, the basics that you have to know how to do in order to get at least some headway on something. And I don't think she even knew the basics. And that's where the problems kind of fall. If the machine does this, what are you supposed to do? Or, she couldn't get, I think she mentioned something about the lever or whatever going down. Like she couldn't get that to get started. And it was like, and depending on where you are mentally, that may be enough to kind of really derail things. And I feel that's where that was what happened here.
Right.
Yeah. For my eye rolls, fucking consistency. Oh my god, it's killing me. Make up your mind on what we're going to be doing. Are you going to do a video message? The biggest for this episode, what killed me was the goddamn lighting. And here's the thing. Someone that was in the room with us who had never seen the episode before walked in when they were doing the main stage and looked at it and goes, is this my TV that's making these weird colors, or is this the episode? I'm like, no, this is what they're doing on the episode. And he says, oh, this is really bad. And the thing is, you can see the difference between season 8 and season 9 with the coloring that they've been doing. I think they've got the lights on too strong, or they might be trying to do what they did for season 1 and try and cover up some of the bad makeup.
No, I don't think it's that. Gary said it earlier on when we first started this season, and I made comments about the lighting. I think what it is because they probably have a new lighting crew, and they're just not familiar with how to light this.
Not at all.
I think that may be it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's not only that there's a new lighting crew and they don't know what to do. I think the second piece of it that I've heard, which I don't know how accurate this is, but there's a theory that the pink and purple shit is about that it's being shot in HD and they're trying to basically fuzz or diffuse part of the high definition, because if you pay attention, some of the queens are starting to look a bit raggedy. Like Alexis's wig line, and her tape were showing. Like her wig line was starting to show and define. It was starting to pull away, and then I didn't realize that in the season apparently she's been taping, because notably she's got these weird folds, like these little crinkles on her temples, and I was like, oh, somebody's taping and pulling back. So there's just been little weird things like that I noticed, that like when you're in Untucked and you have the different lighting, the better lighting, you're seeing true colors, but you're also starting to notice a lot of the flaws of like the makeup and some other stuff that isn't looking that great. And I get it. Like you're in this for hours and hours. So I guarantee, like, your first 3-4 hours, you look pretty good. And then after that, it's going to start going downhill. Yeah. Especially because you're applying so much product and what you're trying to do with it. So, if you put it on if you put that, cement shit on your face with a spackle trowel, like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's gonna, it's not gonna stay smooth forever.
Exactly.
It's gonna look bad. And so I think that's part of what that's a theory of her they're trying to do with the lighting, and I think there's some validity to it. It's just super shitty, like, because everyone's really kind of pissy about it right now. And I'm, so when the finale gets done, gets recorded on June 9th at the Alexis Theater in LA. I'll be very curious to see if the lighting is still an issue, or if, because it's a whole new venue and maybe a different lighting crew, like we won't have any problem. So,
but I bet it gets brought up, and I wonder if they'll bring the makeup up too. I will say that Ruth's makeup this episode and that dress was phenomenal.
Yeah.
This was really, really good.
Oh, I do want to say this. For once in 11 seasons, I finally got to know who the fuck Zaldi is. I
still don't know who
Zaldi's
he
name
was
for years, but never knew what he looked like. Actually, I thought Zaldi was a she for a while. Then I figured out Zaldi must have been a him. And then he's the second guest judge. And talk about keeping that shit under wraps. They were promoting Kesha. And then when the episode starts, and then they're like, and, Emmy Award winning, designer, Zaldi, and I was like, holy fuck, like Rue's dresser, like literal designer of outfits is actually on the show. I was like, wow, that was pretty, for me, impressive. So it's like, I swear sometimes the talent, acquisition has been smoking crack, because my God, last week I bitched about who the fuck are these people? And then this week it's like a 180 and we go to the other end and I'm like, oh, at least I know who the hell they are, and have some understanding. As a sidebar, I think the reason they didn't perform a Kesha song, because normally they perform the Song of the Star, that's, the guest judge, I think is because of her legal battle.
Yeah.
shit
Yep.
that's been going
That's
on.
exactly what it is.
At first, I was like, Demi Lovato. I was like, oh, I'm like, that's shady shit. Why on earth would you not put Kesha's song on? And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. She's kind of in that thing.
Yeah,
label.
that's kind of been a thing,
Yeah.
especially at that time. I think even at that time, it was probably at the height of it or something. Or anyway,
So yeah.
Can we talk about the dress? Because I just assumed one of you would put the dress on your snaps. So I didn't.
oh, we can talk
Because
about.
that dress was gorgeous.
Yes, it was. I love that dress.
Okay, so I have a Damon. Give your opinion of the dress, and then I have a question.
Okay, I really liked it. I thought it was a different silhouette for her, a little different, not like oh my gosh, something different. It was very big at the bottom and kind of flowy. I love that Zaldi announces that there are Japanese kanji that essentially are for some of the things she says. She said in the show, which was very a nice little touch. I kind of like I think it was black, white, and red, or gray, and there's some grays in there too. I like the color choices. They're good and complementary to RuPaul and her makeup and her style. It was different, but I didn't hate it. I wasn't like gaga over it, but it was a good dress. What's your question?
Okay, so I agree with you that the dress was really good. It fit her well. The silhouette was really done well. I like that style, meaning that it's got the nice cut in, and that it's big and flouncy and very airy. She looks good. Basically it turns her back into the RuPaul Mattel doll.
Yeah,
like, proportionally. So this idea came to me today, and I have this question, and it's bugging the shit out of me. Dress before?
Have we seen the dress before?
Yes. Has Rue worn that dress before?
I've not seen it before.
Ooh,
I would remember that dress.
Okay.
I'm trying to go through my head, and I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to go.
It was I couldn't figure out why it seemed so familiar. I don't know what to say. I was like, maybe there's a dress that's something like it I'm mixing it up with, but then I thought, how bad would that be? Like and it's not really bad, but because Zaldi's on, she wears it because he designed it, but she's already worn it before. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going through my head, and I'm going through like episodes past, and I'm not remembering it, but that could just be bad memory. But I also, there could have been maybe something similar. Like I could see that there may have been something similar, especially since he's been her designer, for years past. So it's possible that it looks like something that she's worn before. It's possible, but I don't think it is something she's worn before. But I could be wrong. But who knows? It's true. Doesn't matter.
I know. Now everyone's mad, like searching through Google Images.
I am.
I am. What's funny is what I Google is RuPaul's dress episode 10 season 9, and the first fucking image is this.
Uh-oh.
I put it in the chat.
What is this?
Oh.
Yeah, it came up for me too.
That's a beautiful picture of Sarge. Anyways.
Yes. Okay. So are we into closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. And
right.
yeah, Damon, why don't you kick us
Oh,
off?
sure. Oh, sorry. Top 5, bitches. We're at top 5. We've kind of we're in the home stretch. It's not who I thought it would be. I will own. The one queen that I thought would have been here actually left last, episode. Valentina, I thought would have been in the top 5 at least. And she's really the only one that I think out of the girls I didn't feel would have been. And I agree with you, Brady. You said it earlier in this conversation that you feel like Alexis is the next one to go. I totally agree with that. There's just something there that it's not enough. Like I mean, she started strong-ish, and I think, has she won a challenge?
Trinity?
No, Alexis.
I think she's won one.
Okay.
She's won one.
Yeah,
Everybody that's left out of the 5 has won at least once.
got it. Okay.
Sasha has not done her lip sync.
Sasha, correct. Sasha hasn't done a lip sync. She hasn't been in the bottom. Bottom, meaning bottom 2. But yeah, like that was sort of the only thing. Alexis, to me, I feel is the next one. I feel she's the weakest link so far currently on the show. Because she has gone, I hate to say it, she's gone downhill. Like from the since the the roast, and maybe a little bit before then, but the roast was sort of the turning point for me, her going downhill for me, because she literally went from like, oh, I'm really good, to this very, not negative, but this very just bitter, like, queen. And it's not, I'm not liking it. I'm not having that. And I feel that is what is going to be her downfall. She's editing way too much. She's keeping things far too simple, given where we are in the competition. And that, I think would be her issue.
I think she's intentionally playing it safe.
Yeah. Maybe so, but safe now is not
Isn't going to cut it.
be.
Yep.
Safe is definitely not the place to be right now. Safe is what's going to put you in the bottom and get you off the show. Chester.
Basically what I've said this entire episode. It was pure entertainment, and it was fun all around from start to finish, with the exception of the 2 minutes of the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
And there was about 30 seconds worth in Untucked. Other than that, I loved every moment of the show.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with you. This one was by far one of the best episodes. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that everyone was being very jovial. Even Sasha even said, like, I'm not in my head at all. Like, I'm just having fun. And that, I think, really, really showed in her runway and their look, and then their routine that they all had to do. It just was meant to be. It was fun, and she let go of stuff, and I think that really shined through because of the fact that she wasn't so, like, it wasn't really about the competition at this point. I know that sounds crazy given where we are in the episode, or in the show, but I felt that she was very much like, oh, we're gonna have fun. And she had Duncan, who is just a class act. He was just so amazingly, like, on point and snarky and cynical, and just they worked, like, honestly, they worked really well together. So yeah. Brady.
Oh, great episode. I think I'm going to reiterate that. I'm pretty positive top 4 is going to be Sasha, Shea, Peppermint, and Trinity. I think I've got that pretty lined out, and I will be shocked if somehow Alexis makes it past this next episode. But we'll see what happens.
I will be too. I don't knock her abilities. I just think that she is, either the contest has gotten to her, the competition has gotten to her, or something else is going on that has made her lose that focus, that ability that she had before. Yeah.
Gary?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a part of me that is willing to say, you know what, maybe she just doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what it's coming down to ultimately. When you get to this stage, either you have it or you don't.
True.
Which kind of gets into a little bit of what I'm going to say as my closing thoughts. The first closing thought that I have, though, is I want to play a clip from the episode. I didn't pull the audio out, so I'm actually going to play it from the actual episode. But it's important because it's something that RuPaul says. These are some of my favorite like individual moments that happen in the seasons or in the episodes when Ru has an emotional moment. And she gives a quick little speech when everyone's on the main stage, briefly in recognition of the fact that the crew actually did this, meaning that they agreed not only to the episode theme and concept, but that they actually got, up and drag and that kind of stuff. And if you pay attention close enough, you can hear that Ru's like on the edge.
Yeah.
Like emotionally.
Yeah.
That that I'm pretty sure that either Ross and or Michelle have Kleenexes or kerchiefs at the ready. Like that, she's on the edge of crying. It kind of comes real quick, but I thought it was pretty awesome. So that's why I think the theme, the first of my two closing thoughts, is that we are family, is what she's trying to say.
Thank you, ladies. And to my crew standing on stage, see you men. It says that we as a people are moving forward, and it's beautiful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. That
Yeah.
Ru went to the level of saying, like, you need to know that I appreciate this.
Yeah.
It's for the show. Yes, it's for, what we do as entertainment, but the reality is, like, the fact that you guys did this means a lot. And I think the reason why she made a point of saying that is because the crew is family. I mean, Ru reveals at one point that she knows that Duncan has a boy and a girl and has met the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been spending most of them years together working on the show. Aaron reveals that in art direction, no matter how much he's been offered for another show at the same time of year to work, that he still works on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, that really goes to show how tightly, put together, this production is by WoW Presents, that they've been working on this and they're dedicated to it. So I thought that, the We Are Family was the most specific message to get across from, the makeovers of the crew. My other closing thought, which was my original one, is simply this. Queens will be slayed by the cuts they get from 1,000 nitpicks. And what I mean by that is the 1,000 nitpicks is what's going to happen in like the next 3 episodes, or because I think we're only going to have 2 more and then the finale, basically. And this is when you get down to the nitty gritty. This is where the flaws will, and there's no getting back from that. I noticed something weird in this particular episode. I went and I caught a little bit of again today, and it bugs me because no one brought it up. If anybody goes back and watches the regular episode, Trinity's partner, Glittifa, has a weird padding issue on her right butt cheek. And you notice it mostly after they've done their first runway and Ru makes the joke about lip syncing for your job. And Trinity and Glittifa are at the end of the stage back next to the curtain, and her right butt cheek has this weird white rectangle. And it comes out from underneath the swimsuit cut, and I was like, what the hell is that? So I rewound it, and I kind of looked at it again, and I think it's part of the padding. It's something really weird. It looks like a slip of paper is sticking literally inside the pantyhose. And I was like, oh, but nobody talks about that? Like, nobody addresses the fact that that's really weird?
Huh.
Well, it could have been that they went through the judging and everything, and then it happened. So they're not going to read her for it.
I'll grant you that. Then that means it's inconsistent editing timeline flow. Because the way it's presented, you get the feeling it's part of the normal stage, when in reality, maybe, Glittifa really did have to go to the bathroom, and so had to get all undone and then redone up or whatever. I don't know. That is the reason why I say that. Also, I realize that, Brady, you feel that Alexa should have been in the bottom. At least I think it was you, Brady, that said, that because of what Shay did. And I'm sorry, like, while yes, Alexis's look put together for the two of them was not spectacular, the issues with what was presented was about not execution. Like, Michelle can bitch that, and Zaldi could say it looks like it came out of a Halloween store bag. But the reality is, I think they also knew that she did technically sew it, And then Shay, on the other hand, really did look like she didn't put that much attention into Bay.
Yeah.
And that was detrimental to her. And even Shay, I'm glad, says on stage, "Oh, I didn't mean for that." Like, she immediately owns, like, that was not my intention to make my sister the ugly one or not the star. But I mean, the first thing I noticed when she's out there was like, what the fuck's going on with the hair?
Yeah. Oh my God.
What in the world happened? And so luckily we kind of see that she tries to fix it. But then when they talk about the bra straps, and I was like, oh, your girl, you're doomed. Like, you don't make these kind of mistakes. And this is part of what I think is what I mean by the nitpicks.
Yeah.
Like, it's little shit like that was so easily avoided. The hair could have been pinned and Aqua netted the fuck until it never moved again.
Yeah.
The bra straps could have been easily addressed or something. I don't know. I felt bad.
And that's sort of the thing I worry about. Like, that's why I'm concerned with Shay just a little bit. Is that now that we're in the top, at the top 5, we're at this moment where Shay has been doing pretty consistently good these past several episodes. And it was this episode where everything was sort of focused in on the smaller details that we notice things. So if you start going back and looking at stuff, I've seen things that I didn't realize were like issues until I'm like really looking at stuff. Like, Shay's not as great and perfect as she seems to be in the few times we've seen her.
I agree. I think the problem starts to become when someone is executing at 100 and you execute at a 96 or a 97, those 2, 3, 4 degrees of difference are glaring.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I see out of Sasha and Shay. I think if I had to immediately off the top of my head compare the two of them, I would be like, Sasha is always fucking executing, especially on the runway. It is a consistent, tight, well put together thing. It is incredibly thought out. She's very anal retentive and cares, a lot about getting it done correctly or whatever. And I think that's part of the deal. And so, it's not that Shay's sloppy. I just think it's just enough of a difference.
It's a detail. It's the details. It's all in the details. And like you said, at this point in the show, this is where you can't let that slide anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so I guess because I'm saying that, to me, it seems more evident that it's Shay, Trinity, and Sasha that are most likely the top 3. I think I agree with Brady. I think Alexis is the next to go. And unfortunately, I think Peppermint's not going to make top 3. I don't know unless she really pulls out a wow factor or somebody really fucks up or stumbles or something. I don't see her moving out of 4th. And then when it comes to the 3, because of what we're talking about with Shay, I don't know if she'll stay into like top 2. I think she'll end up in 3rd, and then it becomes Sasha and Trinity, which would be an interesting dynamic because we're talking about, the quirky bald queen who, is so finessed on execution, kind of like a Violet Chachki with this fashion kind of thing. And then, we've got Trinity, who's the pageant queen, who honestly is really changing a lot of people's attitudes about pageant because she has been able to be funny and, put herself out there and do stuff. So, yeah. I think that's, pretty damn interesting where that puts us at.
Yep.
And that, kids, takes us to the end of the show. There are plenty of ways to get in touch with us. Obviously, you can go to cubsoutloud.com for our website, and you can look at our beautiful faces over there. You can do all sorts of things. You can also email us, which is cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You can give us a ring-a-ding. You can leave a voicemail message, and we'll play it on the show. You can call us at 361-COL Talk. That's 361-265-8255. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus as the social medias and type in Cubs Out Loud as one word to get a hold of us. You can go to Bear Underground and join the COL group and say hello. You can go to iTunes and you can rate us. You can go to Stitcher Radio. You can give us a thumbs up. You can go to Google Play or any other the podcast forms out there. Compliment us or comment. We would appreciate it, and rate us. And of course, if you want to find me anywhere on the web, I go by GareBear73, aka my name is Gary. And how does everybody else? How do they find you guys?
Nice. I am Theater Cup 79 on Burr Underground, Growler, Scruff, not Scruff, Heftynet, etc. Or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter.
You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter under the name The Pup Up There, or various bear dating sites across the net under the name Pup Shutter or Cupcake76. And if you're at Tidal Wave this week, you'll be able to talk to me in person, as well as our guest host, Mr. Brady. Him and I will be there together. Brady, where else can they find you at?
You can call me Cupcake, and you can find you can find me on various social media websites under the name Pup Tibbers or Ragnarok Cub.
All right, and that said, we're going to exit like we have been this season to RuPaul's single Kitty Girl from the American album.
Y'all know when you like do that shit with your fans that we can hear it?
Whatever.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Shady bitches.